really could be a hassle. But all he did is walk through, nod his head. So we went straight through with no problem. In my hearing about the Nigerian Airways, in Lagos you have to change air terminals. There's international terminal and a domestic one. It's traveling the domestic terminal that I understand is really a problem. They don't take reservations. They always overbook. And the people don't necessarily have a reputation of waiting in line. But I was very fortunate. The University of Maiduguri has a liaison office in Lagos for the sole purpose of helping their staff members and their visitors to get from one place to another. I think it's just a perfect service. And they had 3 young men who met me at the airport, and they took charge of me all that day. I had a daily layover in Lagos, and it was just really great. I couldn't understand really why they assigned 3 young men to me. But in the afternoon, when we got ready to take my flight to Maiduguri, I could understand real well why. One took care of me to make sure that I stayed put, that I did what was supposed to be done. The other one took care of my baggage because I had quite a few baggage to take over. And the other one stayed on his mark, get set, go. And that was actually the case. When we announced the flight, getting ready to depart, it was time to load. Really, you would have thought it was the Olympics. Everybody rushed out to get that place in line. And this young fella rushed out and got us a very early spot in the line. And then the rest of us went in. And therefore, I was able to get my transfer. That was very good. So I really had no problem. Now, I want to tell you something about the country as I understand it, as I viewed it. You may be the same as I was. You read a lot, and a lot of people tell you a lot of different things. Well, I probably would tell you a lot of different things also. But I'd like to tell you right now that what I will tell you will be my impressions of what I saw, what I observed, and what I experienced. I'm going to give you an idea of what I think are the factors that influence the lives of the people, create the culture so it exists as it is. And I also want to talk a bit about the university. I was at the University of Maiduguri. Dr. Jehovah, you did a good job. And I also want to tell you something about the Department of Library of Science and the library profession in Nigeria. I try not to be too long. Let's say something about Nigeria. Nigeria has a population of between 100 and 150 million people. Now, it occupies a landmass about the size of California, Arizona, and Nevada together. Now, when you think about those 3 places, the landmass, and you think about Nigeria has, let's say, between 100 and 150,000 people. Those 3 states that I just listed have 32 million people. So you can see that Nigeria is very densely populated. Now, there are some problems with Nigeria, and I don't want you to think that I'm here to tell you about the problems. When I decided that I was going to talk about this, I said, now, I enjoyed everything I did. And if I tell these people about the problems, they may just think that Nigeria is a problem. Well, you can rest assured that it's not just a problem, because all the problems I experienced, the problems that I saw, I subscribed to my hometown newspaper. And lo and behold, there would be the same thing. And that would be happening here. Except it just wasn't at the proportion that it was that I experienced there. The major problem that I foresee was this population explosion. There are children, there are, there are just so many children. You really don't see them, but you know they exist because you see the ladies with one here and one here and one here. What is accounting for this population explosion is because they have done a lot to improve their health conditions, and that means that people are living longer, and that makes for this population explosion. It used to be a time that females would have a lot of children with the sole purpose of making sure that they had some to survive. I had students who tell me that their parents had, let's say, 8 children, and out of the 8, 3 could survive. But the statistics are a little better than that now. But they still have a lot of children. They love children. It's an honor to have children. Ladies look down on really if she doesn't have children. The more she has, the better it is. So I see population explosion is one of the major problems. There's also another problem that comes from the movement of the people from the rural areas to the urban areas. Nigeria is primarily an agricultural country. It does have some very large, heavily densely populated cities. But when you think about Nigeria, you think about places like Lagos, where you just can't really move because there are people, the traffic jams and all that. That's because you have these people coming from the rural areas, moving into the cities. Now, why are they moving into the cities? Well, usually they are young people. They have television. They have radio, primarily radio, because you can't usually operate television there on battery. They have radio so they can hear what's going on. And the attractions from the urban areas attract them to come to the urban areas. But when they're coming from the rural areas, we don't bring skills with them, okay? So as a result of that, you get this dense population in the urban areas, and then you have a resulting high unemployment. So there is quite a bit of unemployment resulting from that. As a result of high employment, you have crime, okay? So crime is kind of rampant, particularly in the urban areas. There's another more serious point, I think, that is a result of this movement of the people from the rural areas to the urban areas. The newspapers, they have some delightful newspapers. I really miss that newspaper. That National Concourse is my favorite. The newspapers, it seems to me that they do more teaching. They have excellent writers, and it's just a pleasure to read what they write. But they always is discussing the issues. And one of the issues they were concerned about was this problem of the possibility of not being able to feed themselves. With the people moving from the rural areas going into the urban areas, there is a possibility that you won't have enough people on the farms to feed the population. And that could be very, very serious. The government is attempting to encourage the people to return to the farms or stay on the farms. They're saying, on the farms, we're going to bring electricity to you. We're going to bring running water to you. Okay, we're going to pave the roads so that when you farm, you can get your products out to the urban areas, to the markets for sale. But unfortunately, the government, I don't know really why. I have heard reasons why. There is hardly one reason for anything so serious as that. But oftentimes the government is unable to deliver on these promises. Okay? So those are the problems that I see. Now this is a delightful little book. I won't have time to discuss all the problems, but this book is The Trouble with Nigeria. And it is a fact. Anytime you get a group of people, Nigerians, sitting around talking, the first thing they say, the trouble with Nigeria is. That's what they say. They talk about trouble with Nigeria. And this author is one of their most famous authors, Chinua Achebe. Internationally known writer. And he has identified the problems. This is a delightful little book. The problem's tribalism. The problem is, now I don't know, I don't see anything bad about this, but he says another problem is a false image of themselves. He says that Nigerians really have an ego. They really think they are what's happening. But I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with thinking that you are a number one. You know, because in those areas, as far as you're concerned, you are a number one. And you can't be a number one if you don't aspire to be there. Also, he lists leadership as a serious problem. And I agree that leadership is a serious problem